cracking, everyone? My name is Eric, and today we're going to be looking at workspace organizing. I've been inactive for quite a while. I'll try to get back on track again. And another thing is, I've just made this grass screen quickly because I figured it might be boring to always look at the same gray stats and the big gray base plate. But yeah, today we're going to be looking at workspace organizing, as I said. So this is going to be the first episode in a kind of series of 4 episodes. First, we're going to be looking at workspace organizing, then script organizing, then we're going to do workspace optimizing, and then script optimizing. The key difference between organization and optimization is what it does to you. Organization is only there to keep it clean. In the end, it doesn't really add any functionality. It's just the concept of organization in general is just there to help you navigate your Explorer or game while you're in Roblox Studio and help it keep clean for you. How much it affects you really depends from person to person. Some people might work as well with a messy disorganized space as with a totally clean space, and others work much better with a clean and organized workspace. But yeah, regardless of how much it affects you, I'd still recommend strongly organizing your workspace always, and it's easier to do it while you create your game, because otherwise you'll have to in the end go through in one session and organize everything. So what is organization? I didn't really explain that, but for those that don't know, it's just a general concept of making your game more clean. So that is naming your models, keeping them in proper order, and stuff like that. As I said, not much functionality, but it can really help keep it clean while you work on it. So first up, we're going to be looking at models. So I already talked about this, basically models are contractions of different parts, as I said. So you always want to name your models. If I just change this so it's actually visible. How about light gray? That's better. Yeah. I've created this model. So I just group it. Now we've got a model. Now imagine if we create another model. And you have to keep in mind. Imagine this is a much bigger game. Because in the end you'll have probably hundreds of things in your workspace if it's like a big game, but yeah, you're gonna have tens of models and a lot of parts. So imagine this on a much bigger scale. Now we've got we've got 3 models. Let's say I quickly want to go to this one. What do I choose? Oh, it's that one, but I'd have to go through every single one of these, or just go through them to find this one. That's not clean. That's a bit of a tedious process, and it can be quite frustrating. So what we want to do is rename them while we create them. So while I've still got one model, I've got this model, and if I just ungroup it. So the moment that just after I grouped it, I want to rename it as quickly as possible. I want to name it. As I said before, it's important to do this while you're creating a game. Just in general, keep these tips and things in mind while you do this, because otherwise, you'll have to do it in one session, and that can be quite frustrating. So if we name this left part, and then this right part. So now from the Explorer, I can simply see which is the middle, which is the right, which is the left part. And speaking of that, let's just let's keep them there in case we'll need them. So another thing is naming parts. So usually you don't have to name parts, and I say usually because also usually you'll end up grouping those parts. Because in my opinion, there's a correlation between them. Because if you have a simple model, such as this one, which is only parts, nothing else, then it's okay for them to be named parts. But again, it really depends from model to model. What I do here might not apply to you. So it's really hard for me to be specific. But another thing to keep in mind is the functionality of the model. If you look at the individual part, how much it does, how much functionality does this one part have? It doesn't really do much for the model. It's just that's at filling and stuff like that. And because it doesn't do that much and isn't as important, we won't need to rename it. However, if this contained a local script, let's put a local script here. Hold on, local script. Let's say that we want this part to have a local script, and then the local script is supposed to move this entire model. Then I would want to name this part because now it becomes important. It has a function and it adds something. It adds a key value to the model. So I name it moving part. So yeah, once again, it really depends on the key value of the part. If it isn't that important, so to say, then you don't want to rename it. But once again, this really depends on what your opinion is. If you don't consider part important, just don't name it. Or even if it's unimportant, you can still name it if you want to. It really depends on what you want to do. So these are just general tips. Then you can follow them or take inspiration from them and do a mix between them and your own things. But yeah, so that was within the models. So usually, hold on, I misspelled moving. There we go. So usually parts inside the model don't need to, inside models don't need to be named. However, if it's outside, if a part is on its own, let's just say you can see here. Actually, that's still hold on. That's the moving part. But yeah. Let's say that this is a part for itself, as you can see. Yeah, then you'd probably want to move it. Because if a part is for itself, that's usually because it can do something on itself, from itself, and thus it's pretty important. So to say, for example, if I have a part outside a model just for itself, that's probably because it has functionality just for itself, which don't require any models. I know it's kind of confusing, and I apologize for that, but it's kind of hard to explain. But yeah, and then so this part is on its own now, and it still does, and it still has some functionality in that it moves itself now. So in that case, I still want to rename it moving part. In general, I'd recommend just naming any parts outside models that are on their own, but once again, depends on what you want to do. So yeah, that also explained. That's also explained. Renaming parts. Yeah, you'll need that. So now we'll explain folders next up. So if we say that this is a building in a city. So this model is going to be building 1. There we go. And I apologize, it's a bit laggy because yeah, my computer isn't that good. Or yeah. So now we've got building 2 and building 1, or building 1 and building 2, so to say. So let's say I have an identical city over here. So I obviously want to tell the two different cities apart, also just to keep it neatly organized in the workspace. However, I don't want to group them. I want to, if we just duplicate them. Hold on, building 1. Yeah, so if we just rename this, so hold on, so it says building 2. So now we've got building 1 and building 1, building 1 and building 2 in one city, and we've got another city which is building 1 and building 2. So obviously I want to differentiate them, mainly to keep them clean, but also to help navigate them and stuff like that. So just to tell them apart, but once again, it just won't make sense to group these models, these two buildings. I just don't want to do that, but I still want to have like one category which is separate from these two buildings, that can be named and differentiated from them. So what I do is I create a folder which does exactly that. So folder, and then I put these inside the folder. So building 2 and build. Oh wait, oh never mind. I looked in the wrong direction, but whatever. So this is gonna be, so this was the second city, so city 2. So you'll notice that nothing happened except for the fact that I created a folder called city 2, and then in those I put my models. So you'll notice that these two models are still separate and nothing happened, and that's because the folder doesn't add any functionality. It only exists within the Explorer, which is super useful because you can use this to categorize different models, parts, and aspects of your game, as you saw that I just did there. So yeah, it's pretty simple. You just click plus. You can do this in any place. You can also do it under replicate first if we put a folder, although it isn't available here. But yeah, so you can do this in other places in your game. But yeah, that's pretty simple. So they still won't be attached. In the game itself, nothing really happened. The folder just said to organize it. So folders is recommended. I don't use them that much. I mean, I do use them, but I don't overuse them. But yeah, once again, this all comes down to, well, what you want to do. So yeah, naming your parts, models, and stuff like that is a key part, and then you also want to yeah, model things correctly. Once again, this comes down to your own taste. If if you don't feel like modeling it, or maybe unioning it instead, just do that. But yeah, these are just general tips. And then folders. Once again, I personally don't use them that much. You can choose that yourself if you don't want to use them at all, if you want to use them tiny bit like me, or all the time. But yeah, those are my 3 main tips for workspace organizing. So yeah, thanks for watching. Next episode I'll tune in on script organizing. But yeah, which is organizing inside the scripts. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.